From dropout to CEO, the revenge my teachers never saw coming. Returning to that building was the last thing I ever wanted. The walls of my old school still towered over the neighborhood, like a monument to rules, labels, and every failure they'd ever etched into my skin. I had promised myself I'd never step foot inside again. But when my younger brother got nominated for a community leadership award, I couldn't let him stand alone. The night of the ceremony, the gym buzzed with polished shoes on waxed floors and folding, chairs lined in neat rows, families crowded together, clapping for their children, banners hung above the bleachers, excellence, integrity, tradition, words that meant nothing to me anymore. I told myself I'd slip in quietly, clap politely, and slip out before anyone noticed. But fate had other plans. The moment I crossed the threshold, I felt it. The shift. The air thickened with recognition. Teachers whispered, their eyes narrowing. To them, I wasn't a guest. I was unfinished business. I'd walked out halfway through junior year. Not because I was incapable, but because I refused to keep suffocating in a place that told me I was worthless. What they never knew was that I had built something after leaving a small company that had grown into a force. 30 employees, clients across the country, a future brighter than anything those fluorescent lights had ever shown me. But no one here knew. And I liked it that way. I found a seat in the back, away from the stage. My brother waved when he spotted me, a flash of joy cutting through the gloom. That moment was worth it. I thought I could endure the rest. Then came the voice, sharp, mocking, unforgettable. Well, my old history teacher sneered, striding toward me like a predator. The dropout returns. Heads turned. Conversation stalled. A spotlight I didn't want burned down on me. Did you finally realize the world won't take you without a diploma? She asked, her tone dripping with false sympathy. Too late for second chances? I forced a calm smile. I'm just here for my brother. But it was never enough for them. Within minutes, other teachers swarmed like sharks tasting blood. The math teacher chuckled, shaking his head. Your poor brother. Carrying the shame of your failure must be exhausting. The English teacher added, still dressing like a teenager, I see. That's what happens when you never finish. Growing up, her eyes raked over my blazer and jeans, as if they were evidence of immaturity. I tried to walk away, but a hand gripped my arm. The English teacher's nails dug into my skin. Don't you dare run like you ran from your education, she hissed. Every homeless person I pass, I think of my dropouts. That'll be you soon, laughter echoed, a chorus of cruelty perfectly in sync. The principal himself appeared, his voice booming over the microphone as parents turned toward us. This is what failure looks like, he declared. A cautionary tale for every student. Here, humiliation wasn't enough. They needed to destroy me. When my phone buzzed, I instinctively glanced at the screen. A new client contract, proof of everything they denied about me. But before I could react, the history teacher snatched it from my hand. CEO? She read aloud with a scoff. That what you call your boyfriend? Then she hurled my phone to the ground. The crack of shattering glass echoed across the gym. Oops, she smirked. The math teacher raised his coffee cup like a toast. Everyone, remember, arrogance leads nowhere. She dropped out, and now she comes crawling back. The English teacher grabbed a pair of scissors from a supply table. Your hair's a mess just like your life. Before I could move, she sliced through a chunk of it. Gasps, then laughter. The sound of my dignity falling to the floor with every strand. And then the slap. A sting across my cheek so hard my head jerked sideways. The history teacher's hand hung in the air, trembling with satisfaction. This is for wasting my time trying to educate someone hopeless. I staggered. Dizzy? My brother's voice cut through the chaos. What the hell is going on here? He rushed to me, award in hand, eyes wide with shock. The teachers froze. The spell broke. Let's go, I whispered. I picked up my shattered phone, held my brother's arm, and pushed through the jeering crowd. Outside, under the cold night sky, I finally let the tears fall. My brother sat beside me in the car, furious and terrified. Tell me the truth, he demanded. What have you been doing all this time? I told him everything. The company, the funding, the clients, the nights spent building a future no one here believed I could have. His silence was heavy. Then he whispered, why didn't you ever tell anyone? Because people like them don't deserve to know. That night, urgent care documented the slap mark, the scalp wound, the bruised arm. The folder they gave me had a label, assault victim documentation. I called my operations lead. He listened, then said, we need crisis management. Perception matters. Let's get an attorney. By morning, I sat in the office of a civil rights lawyer. She didn't flinch when I described the scissors, the slap, the phone smashed on the floor. She outlined options, criminal charges, civil suits, restraining orders, formal complaints. We'll do all of it, she said firmly. For the first time, I felt a flicker of control. Evidence piled up quickly. Parents who had witnessed everything texted my brother. Some offered statements. A nurse documented my injuries. A stylist photographed the uneven hair and wrote a report for court. Then came the breakthrough, a video. A parent had filmed the English teacher cutting my hair, the history teacher dumping punch over me, the slap echoing across the gym. It was undeniable. The school district scrambled. Teachers were placed on leave. The union fought back, calling me a liar, accusing me of trespassing. But I had witnesses. Medical records, video. The system tried to bury me. I dug harder. The district attorney pressed charges. Misdemeanor battery. Small but real. The board called a special meeting. I stood at a podium before a packed room, reading a statement I had practiced until my hands no longer shook. I described every moment. The insults, the punch, the scissors, the slap. Parents nodded. Some wiped tears. The teachers sat silent, their union rep beside them. The district promised policy reviews. The union protested. Tension hung heavy, but something had shifted. Online, parents erupted. I watched a teacher pour punch on a former student. One wrote, this is not okay. For once, the voices of witnesses drowned out the lies. The district offered mediation, settlement funds, career consequences. They wanted it quiet, but I didn't want hush money. I wanted change. I demanded a scholarship, funded by the district for students who thrived outside traditional education. A lifeline for the misfits, the dreamers, the so-called failures. They resisted, lawyers argued, but eventually they relented. The scholarship launched with a $50,000 endowment. The first recipient was a 17-year-old coder on the brink of dropping out. I met her at a cafe, told her my story, not the trauma but the truth. That success had many paths, and none of them required permission from people who never believed in you. Her eyes lit with hope, and I knew then I had turned my pain into something bigger. Therapy became my anchor. My therapist reminded me, success doesn't erase trauma. Healing takes time. Bit by bit, bit, I stopped seeing myself as a victim. I started seeing myself as someone who changed an entire institution. The teachers weren't fired, but they were shackled by new rules. No physical contact with students or visitors. Mandatory de-escalation training. Immediate suspension for misconduct. It wasn't perfect justice, but it was progress. Months later, at the scholarship award ceremony, I sat in the same gym where it all happened. Parents glanced at me with gratitude. My brother called me brave. Driving past that school afterward, I felt no rage, no shame, just clarity. They had tried to humiliate me, to reduce me to nothing. Instead, they gave me a platform, a reason, and a legacy. I never got a perfect apology, but I got something better. Proof that even someone written off as a failure could force change. If you take anything from this, let it be this. Never let someone else define your worth. Not a teacher, not a title, not a system. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's turning their cruelty into a future they could never imagine.